All right, welcome back to Dudes of Disruption, disrupting your automatics. We are live every Sunday, 2 to 3 p.m. here on 90.3 FM WHCR in New York. That was Spencer Davis Group, song called I'm a Man from the mid-'60s. Really interesting song because if you listen to it initially on the surface, it sounds really superficial. But by the time you get to the end of it, it's actually really insightful and really powerful as this guy has this kind of journey of taking a look at who he is and how the world is perceiving him as a man. Good stuff, so check it out. And we are back here with a bunch of dudes. We've got more dudes than we've ever had in the studio today. We have dudes from our men's group, which happens here in New York City. In case you're interested, you can check us out on Facebook and connect with us or email us at dudesofdisruption@gmail.com if you're interested in finding out more about the group. But we're going to open up the mics and we're going to get into this unplugged topic of what do men really want, or what are we really thinking?
Mm-hmm. What are we really thinking about what we really want?
That's true.
All right. It's that time of the show for Say What?
Say what?
Say what?
It's that time already?
It's that time.
It is.
The Say What stories of the week are stories out there that relate to the topic of the show. We're going to talk about some assumptions about dudes. Ready for the first story?
You guys ready?
Yeah, sure.
All right. We got Jim, Pavel, and Andrew from our men's group, Dudes of Disruption's men's group, in the building with us. So let's go. The first story is all men watch porn.
Well, that's a story? I mean,
Yes. There's a story out there that...
You mean that's a fact, Andrew?
okay, there's a lot of stereotypes about men that I can safely say I don't fall into, but that is one I squarely fall into. So I might just sit this one out.
Hey, well, I won't sit this one out because actually I am someone who watched a lot of internet adult porn, almost to the, not even almost, to a place of compulsion and addiction. So I can relate to this one, but I used to actually have a relationship to it that all men watch porn.
Right.
So it almost in a way maybe justified that it was okay where I was at. But guess what, guys? There's a growing movement of men who don't watch porn at all. Now, can you think of why they may not want to watch porn?
And can I add something else too? How do we define porn? And don't laugh for a moment. What I mean by that is, does porn also include, looking at women on Facebook, right? Like just looking through pictures on the internet, right? That are not nude. I'm saying that's what I'm. So I get what porn means, and at the same time, are you also someone who's obsessing or compulsing over pictures of women in general as well?
I guess I've been looking at more porn than I thought I was.
Now, with that said, there's true that there's a broad definition. I think what recent articles have talked about, the one that seems to be the most potentially troublesome is high-speed adult internet porn, consuming it at such a high rate that all of a sudden it redefines how you see sexuality and your relationship to what excites you and what doesn't. Just so you know, some of the recent studies have said that too much of this can lead to erectile dysfunction.
Right.
So imagine there's guys in their 20s who have the same symptoms as someone who might naturally have this issue in their 70s or 80s.
Right.
Cognitive impacts. You could actually, too much internet porn and masturbation together could drive you to lose concentration and ability to delay gratification, which in life comes in handy if you're trying to make something big happen. Social isolation.
Right.
And last but not least, maybe one of the most important things is that your significant other gets impacted by it too.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I worry about with porn is that I have kids. I have 4 kids. I have 2 boys and 2 girls. What I worry about is, I remember when I was a kid, porn was hard to come by.
Right.
Right. I remember we found a garbage bag of magazines. It was like hitting the mother lode because you had no access to it, But now any kid with a cell phone or a computer can look at it, and it's everywhere, and it's really easy to get. I worry that my sons are going to interpret this as this is what it means to be a man in a sexual relationship. And I'm also really worried about my daughters, maybe potentially them watching it, believing that this is what their role is. But I'm really worried about the men that they could potentially be with.
Sure.
Them thinking that this is what a sexual relationship is, and it's not.
It's skewed on both ends of it. I can tell you what's very troubling right now is having a teenage daughter, that it is normal for boys to ask these girls to send nudes.
Right.
I mean, it like blows my mind that it is just that easy. Like I told my daughter, I said, we had to work hard. Like you said, Jim, like, rummaging through people's magazines.
Tommy
Like,
had to work
I got
hard.
I got like half a Harvey magazine, I was like the happiest guy on the planet, And you had to work really hard to get porn.
Yeah, sometimes it was National Geographic. That
Right?
Was, sure.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But yeah, I have a newly teenage daughter as well, and I'm also really concerned just of the speed and the quantity of porn that's out there. Yes, it was difficult to get to, but now, how is it framing relationships and expectations? And I'm fortunate enough to have some friends who are in their 20s and 30s, and they've shared with me that it definitely has impacted their dating, and just personal grooming, if you will, expectations, if you know what I'm talking about.
Well, there's also
well said.
there's also a level of violence that's been introduced into pornography now that's really frightening. That it's scary, to be honest with you. And that's what, as a man with pornography, that's really what's turned me away from it in a lot of ways.
Part of what I'm hearing everybody say is that one of the outcomes, one of the consequences of porn is that people think that relationships are that way, that a woman is a certain way or a man is a certain way. And so it makes it challenging to be in a real relationship with someone and to be intimate with them, because you have this expectation or this visual or this fantasy that men and or a woman has to be a certain way, or that you are a certain way inside of it. It's a make-believe relationship.
Yes. And just to wrap up, one of the things that the articles point out is, I think, Pavel, you made a good point, which is have these conversations with your sons or daughters, so they can start to form a relationship that works related to themselves and to dating and to sex. And then also, as Nick said, if you are thinking about this topic, you're not alone. And there are men out there who are actually interested in having a different relationship with porn. Our next Say What story of the week. Uh-oh.
Sounds like a good one.
Uh-oh.
You got a doozy of a Say What?
I do. The title of this story is called "Don't Split the Chores with Your Significant Other to Save Your Marriage."
Now, hold on. So you're telling me that, don't split your chores, it'll save your marriage or relationship, right?
Yes.
So I could tell girlfriend
Hello, Anissa.
that I don't have to do anything. Wait, is that what you're telling me?
Oh man, and my wife just left. I'm gonna totally get off the hook.
There was a recent study that said couples that split the household chores are more likely to end up divorced, separated, split up.
What?
Say what?
Wow.
So, if you are one of those folks who split the chores, it could be the sign of things are coming to an end.
Pavel, what do you do at home? What's your chores?
I do all the chores.
All of them.
No, I guess I would fall into the category of being the chief domestic engineer of the house.
Okay, I like that title.
And it sort of came about as our relationship, I've been married now 16, going on 17 years. As our relationship evolved, as our work situations changed, I had more time, which meant I had some incredible time with my children. But then there were certain expectations of what needed to get done in the house. So the question is, do I not do the chores out of some fear of my manhood or article, or, do I accept that I can do this, And if I can just quickly share a real quick story. I don't know if you know the movie Almost Famous.
Yes. Great movie. Great call, Pavel.
Billy Crudup's character, he's tripping on LSD. He's at this party. He's standing on the roof of the house. He says, "I am a golden god," and he jumps into the pool. Well, I had my golden god moment as I was baking our chicken while simultaneously...
Hold on, I like the comparison.
I'll get there. I'll get there. While simultaneously tiling our kitchen. And our children were young then, so we were doing the whole organic thing, preparing meals in advance. So by the time I was done baking my chicken and tiling the kitchen, I realized I am a domestic god. So I fully embrace it. And I think just to circle back to the concept of marriage and happiness, marriage does not make happiness. Happiness is not a place. It's a way of going through life. So it's a journey. If part of your journey is how you deal with the reality, and reality means, do you like a clean home? Do you want to have clothes for tomorrow? Somebody's got to do them. And if somebody happens to be making more money than somebody else, and that means they're way more, then if it's a true partnership, then dude or not dude, it's got to get done.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Well said.
And just so you know, to that point about modern versus traditional families, the research suggests that the modern couple has a different view and connection to marriage, as it may be not being as sacred. So they contend that may lead to why folks may break up if they're in a more quote unquote modern relationship.
Yeah. For me, this article, Gregory, also brings up, my experience in the 3 men's groups that I've been a part of is that men often don't self-express, that they keep things in, they bottle things in, they keep it inside, especially things that are bothering them, things that are bothering them about their partner. And so I think often men are engaged in chores. Men are doing things that they actually don't want to be doing, or at least are not choosing powerfully or choosing from a conscious place. And I think that's ultimately what splits couples up. It's not about splitting up chores, is when one party, in this case a dude, is not being honest about what they want or what's not working for them. And so for the global tribe out there, lean in. It's okay if it gets a little messy, even if it's Pavel's kitchen getting a little messy. Lean in, because that's actually the solution to something different being possible. And that's certainly a disruption for dudes out there, to lean in rather than hold it in and hold back.
Yes, and to Nick's point, please lean in and do not look to this article for evidence, because guess what? There's also contradictory research that says couples that do share the chores actually work out.
More from the dudes when we come back. Parting shots as we wrap up the show. You've been listening to Greg, Nick, and Tommy, the Dudes of Disruption, and we'll be right back.